Today I'm just going to be looking at some replays. I don't know if it's just the times I've been going on, but I haven't been getting a whole lot of good Fortships gameplay recently. Just been playing with a lot of noobs and, struggling to fill up a lobby and stuff. So you might see some more of these videos in the future where instead of trying to specifically get good games and commentate while I'm playing and stuff like that, I just play a lot of Fortships games in my spare time like I normally would, and then go back over and try to hit some of the highlights with replay. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll just be looking at some of the Fortships games I just randomly played today and seeing if we can't get some highlights. So I'm just doing a bomber ship, nothing too fancy. He's going for a bigger ship, and we'll see where that sends us. I like doing this where I have mortars on top and bombs on bottom, and that makes it a ship-to-ship ship as well. So instead of just firing down at bases with bombs, I can also do like where I try to get above ships and bomb them, and if they try to go above me, I can always mortar them. Or, I can like mortar ships while I bomb bases. So we'll see how that works out. I just put it into like 2x speed. No one else on my team is really doing a whole lot. So I just get out immediately, start bombing. I've already got nukes. I left one of them as carpet bombs just in case they have some machine guns. But I just immediately kill one, and then I use my mortars for ship to ship. And since he's above me, I'll gladly use mortars while I bomb bases. So that's one of the reasons. And then I just decided to take care of his ship while I'm here, so I go above him to bomb him. And if he had successfully gotten above me, I would have just mortared him from below anyway. So that's why I kind of like this ship. You can just go above and below ships, and a lot of times they'll just have horizontal weapons. I mean, it doesn't always work because you have to be maneuverable too, or you'll just get shot with like horizontal weapons before you're above and below them. But if you're maneuverable and you can stay like level with the ship where you can follow them left or right, then you can just bomb them from above or mortar them from below, and just like alternate, or just depending on how they try to dodge. And there's not a whole lot of escape for them usually. And now and it's also good because you just immediately get damage on bases without having to worry about rotating cannons and stuff like that. Although in more serious games, I would probably still just suggest cannon ships, probably because, if they have a lot of cannon ships, it can still be hard to get something like this over to them successfully. And of course I didn't have doors on any of these because that makes it a lot harder to fire these and not blow yourself up. So that's the first match, and then we'll just go along them. I don't know how long this video is going to be. Depends on how much I fast forward through these matches. Again, I don't think there were any super like competitive matches that you're going to want to see all the way through. You can see they're not really doing a whole lot, not a whole lot of experienced players. We've got a guy grabbing a base back here, and I just did the same thing. So we'll just get into it. You know, 3 jets. I can even add 4 jets on this bad boy, just to I could probably make it thinner or less big if I'm really trying to go for maneuverability, but more jets also works. Just so that if an enemy ship does come up, I can get above or below them pretty quickly, so that they can't fire their horizontal weapons on me. So they kind of have 2 doored machine guns here, but that's not really enough to stop a whole bunch of nukes. guys eventually get them. Obviously this ship is pretty easily stopped by anti-air, but it could still be good for ship-to-ship combat. And I just continue bombing. These nukes, man, they just chunk bases. And I'll just kind of fast forward through this. It is always fun to see just huge bases get chunked. Sorry if I'm not saying a whole lot. I would prefer to have games where, you know, I'm facing off against really good players, and I guess I'd have to kind of play games earlier for that. I've been kind of going on later recently, and there haven't been as many people on. There's not a whole lot of, like, interesting skill-based decisions I'm making. I'm kind of just bombing them, and they're not putting up much of a resistance. But these games were just going for like 10-minute games, so it's still sometimes entertaining to just get through them quickly, where you can just chunk enemy bases. But I think I would have much preferred actual skilled enemies. This is something you can do. Sometimes these enemies will get like these kind of small things with like exposed stuff on them. You'd be surprised just getting machines on your top. Machine gunners on your top can sometimes take out a lot of exposed stuff. You know, if you're just trying to get quickly built weapons that can do some damage against exposed stuff. But anyway, yeah, they're not doing a whole lot. I just eventually replaced the machine gunners with bombs. This guy did something interesting, actually. He launched a ship like this, and then he goes, I'll speed it up a bit. He goes up and he connects with it. Connects with the cannons that are on his base. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know if I see the usefulness of it. I guess building weapons on base can be easier if you're dealing, you know, ship to ship while you build weapons on base, and you just come down to collect weapons on base. I guess I could see. But I mean, I'm always up for just interesting stuff. Like, you know me, I'll do some wacky stuff, so I'm 100% on board with this just because it looks fun, but I don't know how viable it really is. But it could be interesting so that, you know, get something out that can patrol the skies early, but then reconnect and grab some more weapons. That being said, he only had 4 suspendium chambers, so it's pretty easy for me to just kind of outmaneuver him. And he dies pretty quick to nukes. And grab this guy with some mortars. He gets away from me, but at this point I'm just content to... That guy bombed this guy, by the way. I'm content to just take out these bases pretty quickly. I don't think he's doing much that would be a problem. If I were playing more serious, I guess I'd be more concerned about guys getting past me and stuff, but I just had also, I've kind of gone through this quickly, but I had these just in case they had any machine gunners as AA. You always want something, like some shotguns or some flak or something that can take out some exposed machine gunners if you're doing bombs. Alright, we'll just keep going down the line. I mean, I hope this is at least mildly entertaining, because these are the kinds of games I'm getting of Fortships lately. So this is literally all the content I have, so I figured I might as well post it. This guy actually got a little bit of something. And this guy's trying his little reconnect thing again. Not helping his turbines very much, though. This guy, oh, that's me. Guess I'm doing something different this time. We'll see where that goes. And some guy connected. If you're ever... I guess this now would be as good a time as ever to discuss trying to help new players. These are just like balloons, like negative mass that are pulling up. So the reason this is going to flip upside down is because the balloons are at the bottom, not the top. So, and this is how we like rotate ships too. Wherever you place these, that's the side that's going to orient itself to be on top, because that's where these are pulling. And if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, these actually pull on the strut they're attached to, and they're attached on the bottom. So even if he had like a 3 tall and he had the suspendium chambers in the quote-unquote middle, because they're actually pulling on the strut on the bottom, that would still flip upside down. So just the more you know. The reason this flips upside down is because he needs to put these on the top. Again, I'm sure you've seen times where cannons get rotated and stuff, and you put, like, if I put all the suspendium chambers over here and maybe delete these ones, I'd rotate down. I think I'd probably do that later in this game. So I guess he had a failure to launch. Don't know what exactly he's doing here. And I don't think I knew really what I was gonna do this game. I was just kind of experimenting with random stuff, but I just ended up with a bunch of cannons. But they're out really late in the game. Yeah, this guy just was not having a good time launching, it looks like. But he did get 2 cannons out. I probably should have armored this up better. Wasn't too concerned. Wasn't playing super seriously these games. And yeah, that was a failure to launch or whatever with his other one. Or I guess you might have been trying to like reconnect it all to the same one. So we'll just kind of fast forward through. Still nothing too interesting happening. Actually came down a little bit hot here, if you wanted to see that, I guess. Explosion. And then also, once these were ready, he got me pretty good here. He got one of my cannons. Oh, that's laggy. Should not have gone ×4. Apparently my computer cannot handle that. Come on. Anyway, all that happened here was he got up, but I was pretty much ready for that. And I'm just placing howitzers, because at this point I'm right next to their bases, and they're not putting up much ship-to-ship fight, so I'll just use howitzers. I think at this point, yeah. So this is, since the lift is kind of now more on this side than just this side is orienting to be upwards, is a way to think about it, I guess. Just whichever of the 4 sides of your ship has the majority of the lift, that's the side that will orient itself to be up the top of your ship. So now I just absolutely obliterate him. I kind of shoot all around his core, kind of toying with him at this point. I actually get, this is pretty funny, actually get this right here and cause him to drop. Just thought it'd be a little bit funner, or more fun than just shooting his core directly. sorry for the cut, was just finding the next good flying match. This one will be pretty quick because nothing that interesting happens, so I'll try to just fast forward, get the highlights. But this is a co-op flying match where we both got battleships. I think this match was 4 people to a team, but it might have been 3 to a team. I don't specifically remember. Co-op can be a little bit frustrating for higher skilled players sometimes when their lower skilled players are kind of doing things that kind of block the higher skilled players from doing good stuff is how you could say it. But I'm only mentioning that because in flying that can be a little bit compounded when newer players don't know what any of this mod stuff and just try to play with your ships, and they can end up crashing them pretty easily. But sometimes it's just fun to play some co-op and not take it too seriously. So I capture this, and then I just kind of grab everything. Sometimes I'll do this too, where I'll put like cannons on like these bases or something like that in these co-op maps, just so that players who don't know how to fly could just use these weapons if they want to. So it looks like enemy grabbed this base. We've got this one, we've got this one, we've got the top. And then I've got this little ship, and friend's got this little ship. So I do some wacky builds, and I just slap a bunch of bombs on the bottom. Friend gets some rockets facing on the left to get this guy. I've also rearranged this to kind of put cannons here. Looks like cannons versus EMPs. I might have hit my friend a bit there. I think I was trying to bomb him, or maybe I was trying to bomb this ship as it passed under me. So I bomb this a bit. Friend hits it, so I just decide to go chase this guy down. In a more serious scenario, I'd probably just get rid of these bombs and build a bigger ship, or try to build a bigger ship and keep the bombs. Like build more left or right, go down or something, so that I can have left and right weapons. But in this, I just do some wacky stuff. I clear this jet to build some weapons, just slap them on my left, and then I end up passing him without being able to bomb him. So then I have to rearrange this stuff and get jets. So I built a flamethrower here. I was just having fun slapping random stuff on. Eventually I get down to... I kind of get down to get my cannons on him once they're ready, but then he just crashes, as you can see. I don't know if you didn't know that this map has this protective thing. Most good flying maps have this kind of zone where enemy ships can't come in, just to prevent kamikazing and like getting cannons just like on their cores. Like if I could fly a ship in here and just fire a cannon right on their core, that would be pretty cheap. So friend over here hammered them with rockets and miniguns and took this. We've still got cannons here. They've kind of just slapped a bunch of rockets here, some flak. But we've taken out all their ships, so the rest of the game goes pretty quickly. I've upgraded to nukes, mostly, and I've got some cannons. So it's kind of, it looks like they got one ship out with some 20 mils, and some of my nukes are landing. So I go to bomb him, and then cannons with no doors like this have pretty good arcs of fire, so I could fire up into him if I needed to, but he kind of just let me get right beside him. And then I got the nukes behind the flak, so I figured this is where like the eco is, because this is kind of usually where you put your batteries, and storages and stuff in the back, and turbines. So I just hammer the eco. I try to get some shots off with the cannons, but they're not really doing too much. And I'm firing at them with these cannons too. And friend goes to get some shotguns and get some cannons on here. So basically at this point we've won, but there's still some glorious destruction to see. So I'll let this play out, I think. But yeah, obviously these cannons aren't doing a whole lot. And they collapse. So we just got 2 more cores to go, and nukes just chunk straight through the base, right to the core. You gotta have AA, because nukes are just so good. And these cans are online, these cans are online. Shotguns for AA. Nukes for just insane amounts of damage. Just gotta finish them off. It is, even in games where not a whole lot happens, it is just real entertaining to see bases get chunked sometimes. So we'll move on to the next one. I started playing on one of the maps I made. So I don't know if I've showcased this map before, but it's basically just I was kind of tired of all the regular, just flat ground with a big old wall in the middle. So instead, it's floating islands. You know, obviously people can't direct fire at each other, and this is a pretty big map, so you can't mortar across. So, but it does have the ability for ships to get like in here and fire on bases directly like that. So it's interesting, it's different, and it's a lot more space to maneuver and stuff. You can go above and below, so I like it. Obviously I made it, so I like it, but I guess I'm just self-promoting at this point, but just trying to fill in the time while stuff happens. This guy gets interesting ship. I just get a ship like this. Sometimes I'll kind of do this where I'll get the base of the ship with some jets down first, and I'll try to kind of get over to him a bit before I expand this out. Since obviously the more wood and metal and stuff you add to your ship, the slower it'll go. So sometimes it can be good to get, and this isn't necessarily an extreme example, you can get like just a tiny ship with a jet, get it over to them, and then expand it out into a cannon ship if you want to. But I mean, obviously I want to place some cannons, because cannons take a while to build, so I build enough that I can kind of get the basics going. But I don't build it like super huge, because then that would take forever to get across. You can see this is a big map, so there's a lot of opportunity to dodge around each other and go under them and sneak around and stuff like that. Teammates are just ecoing and stuff. This guy's getting something. It's mainly just me versus this guy. So I'll just fast forward to get to the battle a bit. Let's see, where am I? Oh, I ducked down because I guess I didn't have weapons ready yet. So these jets aren't fully functional because they're hitting these pieces. I've kind of talked about that before, where the way jets work is they fire a projectile, which is like the blue flame you see, and then the recoil on the guns moves you in the direction. So like this fires the projectile to the right, so the recoil pushes you to the left. But if that projectile hits your base, it kind of cancels out. So this one, when it fires the projectile to the left, the recoil will push it to the right, but the projectile will actually hit on here too and push it to the left as well. So you still go a bit, but not nearly as good if you did proper interior thrusters or open. So I did not know he had this like this, so these are obviously very open to getting shot, but they can fire like straight down basically. So it is interesting. I get behind him because I figure that he doesn't have any backwards facing weapons, and I placed some rockets just because I was waiting for my cannons to get out, so I needed some weapons to be ready sooner. I get them pretty good with rockets. And then now the cannons are ready, so I think I decided to go back on the other side of them, even though I could probably just hammer them with rockets from here. I want to be a bit sporting about it. So yeah, my top's pretty exposed. Like, he could, if he had already had this background, he could have hammered into my top, but as is, yeah, I had no idea that he had no doors or anything, so I just fire at some of the weapons that are firing, trying to door sniping or whatever, but it just goes right through. So I probably could have just gone straight for the top, but in hindsight. So that is, since he had no doors and stuff, he did get a good amount of firepower, so I just, but I know I've taken out a good little chunk of his weapons at this point. So I just, play risky, just to get it over with quick, and I get most of the rest of his ship down. Probably should have just dodged more and, you know, finished armoring up, but I didn't want to wait for the metal income. I play, in some of these matches where I know I'm not going up against like highly skilled players, I play a little fast and loose sometimes, so probably don't take too much advice from these videos, I guess. So at this point I've got these rockets to fire back on this base, because like I've said on this map, I can like come down and fire directly to left on bases in a way that you can't do in regular maps, so I just decided to just go ham on rockets here. Looks like they've got another little quick ship. What are my friendlies doing? They're trying to figure it out. And this guy, I guess they're kind of figuring stuff out. So it looks like I do that twice, don't learn my lesson, where I fire the rockets while going too far up or down and they collide with the doors or the struts above them before they can get out. One of the things with rockets. So I decide, instead of trying to, you know, keep pace with them, I think at this point I decided to just fire on bases a bit. This guy has already left though. I think he left early in the match. I didn't necessarily know that, but you can see it's just gonna burn the rest of the way. And I just kinda fire some more on him. And that's one of the things with Fortships. If people are getting ships with like return to senders and you know, they're dodging you and stuff, sometimes you have to know that you can just start firing on their bases, and if you can do significant damage, you kind of put the pressure on them and they have to come to you. So if you have the bigger ship and they just keep dodging, sometimes just go straight for the bases, you know, if you can, and then they kind of have to come to meet you. So it looks like I go to get some cannons and stuff on them. I had to place this one as a 20 mil because some deformation happened and I couldn't fit a cannon in here. But it still does a good amount of damage. Looks like he doesn't believe in doors. He still hasn't doored any of his stuff. But I probably came on this side because I didn't want to... all these weapons you have to like be fairly still, because if you're going, the projectiles are so slow that if you're going up or down too fast, you can just hit yourself with the projectiles. So I guess I just go over here to try to get cannons on them because I don't want to deal with that. So one base down. This guy's kind of just armoring or something. This guy's getting a little ship out. I think this guy is this guy, by the way. So I get some stuff there. He kind of goes into that one. And I guess I'm just kind of keeping it interesting on switching, shooting both of these. I probably could have just stayed and finished him off with the cannons. But I get enough of the rockets that he's not able to save that. And then now I've got rockets and alleys. Oh, and it looks like I did not wait for this to come to a complete stop before I fired, and I paid the price for it. So basically, the ship was going down, the projectile fired, and probably these doors or this wood came in contact with the projectile. So that slows me down a bit. I just decided to fill in with rockets because obviously I'm not going to wait for another howitzer to come online. So I just kind of fast forward to the rest of this. I don't think anything too interesting happens here. Let's see, teammates, they've started to come over, I guess. This guy's got something. He collected a base or whatever. He's not doing too much. Finish this guy off with rockets. I just slapped some more stuff down here, but I go a little bit too low. So I'm not really using that anymore. That was just for extra. He built weapon portal to the front, but I just have too much firepower, so I finish him off. So we'll go on to the next one. Alright, same dealio. I think some of the same players. This guy's building something. This guy's got his little thing. I've already got my little thing starting to come over. This guy's trying this thing out again. So I'll just kind of fast forward until some more interesting stuff happens. He crashes. He's got something out. I guess he ended up killing himself when he crashed. Tough luck. Oh, and yeah, I've talked about it before, but basically this is the way to do interior jets with them pointed at each other, or you can have them pointed at any device or anything like that, because then if a projectile hits a device, it doesn't transfer that energy to the strut, that kinetic energy. So basically the backdraft by the projectile is mitigated when you do this, as opposed to if there's just wood here, this would be going a lot slower. Looks like he gets a little flamethrower ship out. He's got some 20s. I'm just going straight for howitzers on bases. I build those first. Basically, I just want to get this done fairly quickly. I don't like long drawn out matches, particularly when I know there's not that many good people. I tend to just try to get back to lobby to see if we can get some more people. So So I just kind of fast forward this to get to some interesting stuff. He's kind of built some base defense. He's figuring out how his flamethrowers work. He gets 20s on me. Yeah, since he doesn't have many doors on this, he's got some pretty good firing angles to fire down me. He's a little bit too far for his flamethrowers to work. And I get the howitzer off on him. And I managed to dodge the majority of this 20 barrage. He's getting a bomb. Another ship, I guess that's from this guy. Some lasers. Lasers aren't good with any sort of flying because any movement in what you're firing at or the lasers themselves makes it so that you don't do much damage. So unless you can keep the beam steady, I should have waited till after to fire that. The howitzer just collided with one of the 20s. Unless you can keep yourself completely steady and the enemy you're firing at steady, lasers won't do much damage. I think specifically that was like, I remember people used to do like sweeping fire beams and stuff like that. And I thought I was still enough that wouldn't happen, but yeah. Hit myself with howies again. So obviously, howitzer is just slow moving projectile, fast moving base. Not the best combination. Easy to dodge too, unless you're up close. I think I get him here though. He doesn't dodge over the way. Managed to nail him. Friendly's not doing anything. He dropped his base here. I don't think it exploded too much, and I'm just dodging 20s. This is pretty interesting though. I didn't really notice this in match, or didn't get the significance of it, but he has a portal on top that is connected to a howitzer back here. So that comes into play later. But I'm just, at this point I'm just trying to kind of get pretty close to him so my howitzer can land on him without him dodging. And I'm also ready to start firing these on bases. So I just try to take out his AA. And since I'm firing on his base, he wants to come down to protect it, so I get the shot off on him. So being proactive and going for their base kind of forces their hand. But then he gets in with this, so I try to dodge away at this point, but he gets a pretty good shot on me. At this point, yeah, I just want to try to stay away from him firing down up into my bottom, and I'm trying to keep hammering their bases. So I think at some point, I don't want to hang around here just in case you can get under me. So at some point I retreat, and then I think I just keep retreating. This guy's got lasers of that again, those aren't very good. And I could just keep trying to hit him, but oh, looks like he crashed. I guess I do get some shots on, but it's pretty easy for him to dodge. So at some point I decide to use the maneuverability of this map and go around. So we'll see what happens here. Yeah, I just decide, well, I guess I try for some more shots. but he just keeps dodging. And I realize I'm not going to be able to get a... I guess I try to get closer, try to get the shots off, and then yeah, at some point I just decide to go around. So now he's here, and I have these jets upgraded so I can get around pretty quickly. And he's still up here, not ready to deal with me. And I get shots back on bases. And he's not ready for it. So it is interesting what you can do with more open space to kind of dodge around. At this point, might as well get more weapons, so I just get some rockets. Because I don't want to wait for more howitzers to come out. And at this point, the game's basically over. This guy no longer has control because his base is dead. So unless he adds some economy, there's nothing really he can do. This guy's gotta ship out, but it's just not gonna be enough. And yeah, as soon as the rockets come online... Oh, I do that thing again. But at this point, it doesn't really matter that much. And that's that game. But yeah, I like howitzers and rockets, just seeing the amount of destruction and chunking. It's more satisfying than cannons sometimes. So we'll move on to the next one. These might have had a few different people. I can't remember. I don't think I was filling lobbies that well. Just kind of getting randoms and not getting that many people. Alright. So it's probably just similar beginnings, just kind of getting eco. He's got a little small ship. They're Phantom this time. He's kind of do something. He's doing something with rope. He's doing a little ship. I've got my base ship going. He's got a little thing going. We'll kind of fast forward to the first good conflict. He's got a big thing going. Oh yeah, and now we're playing with birdies, I remember now. I just wanted to add something, so birdies guns. So my cannons aren't online yet, but I guess as soon as they come online, I get a good shot off. That finishes him off. I get his exposed turbine. He's got hanging cannons up here, which are, again, birdies guns. Teammate's got a little bomber. I miss a bit, but to be fair, they were invisible at the time because they're phantomed right now. Hanging cannons from birdies actually curves up, so he didn't take that one into account. And again, I'm just going howitzers on the left because I can pretty much get right up against their bases and wreak some good destruction with that. And it's just so nice to see the chunking of their bases. They've gone invisible again, but now that they're smoking, I basically can see where they are at all times. Pretty interesting development there. So he's got all this stuff, but he doesn't have any weapons there yet, and my howitzers are ready. So bad luck for him. Well, one is ready at least. They do take a long time to build. Some dodgy play here. And then I think I get howitzers on them. I kind of had these machine guns just in case I couldn't tell where they were while they were invisible. Figured I could shoot some shots and just see if they hit them or not with the machine gun before using my howitzers. Get all his weapons. He has these EMP missile things, but I managed to juke those. And I just get more howitzers. Howitzers, just chunk bases, man. Nothing you can do about that. And even if he had some AA, or really close range, he gets me here. I think I was building more turbines back at base at this point, because I didn't have enough energy to fire all these weapons on cooldown. So I just continued to chunk him. He's got some ADS, but it's not doing much. And we get him. And it looks like my teammate has kind of come into play too. So obviously he doesn't have much armor here, so this goes pretty quickly. And there's a ship battle going on here, but at this point I've pretty much won their bases. I also got some bombs just to do some extra damage. Varied up a bit. So this is the last one. I was playing with most of the same people, I think, so I just decided to one before. Figured it'd be a little bit more fair, just because it seemed like I was just destroying them anyway. So I just get a little ship out. I connect up a bit. They've got a little ship. But yeah, they're kind of good at building little ships, but other ones of them don't really know what's going on, so I think this is still pretty fair as I wanted before. So yeah, I don't want to just get, howitzers or cannons and take them out right away, so I do some different stuff this time. So I get mortars up here. I go to grab this one, I think, as well. Get some mortars firing on him, I think is the first thing I do. And I suck at aiming mortars, so I almost hit myself trying to hit him. But then he goes up, so I can fire up into him. And I go grab these ones as I'm firing up at him. He's made it past me now. At this point, I don't think I'm too worried about it. But, I'd be fine with them actually winning. So, I kind of just go aggressive. Don't want to prolong the game trying to go back for him or anything. Oh, managed to hit myself with some mortars, which happens quite a lot this game. I suck at aiming mortars. Again, trying to hit him, but don't do it shallow enough. Put some rockets here. Finally managed to get some shots on him, but still almost hit myself. At least some of those shots hit first base. Get some rockets here just to deal with them. Get some hits on him. Built some incendiary rockets here. We're still playing with birdies just to mess around. Guess I'll get him with mortars. I don't know if he was still playing or if he just wasn't repairing. Maybe he was one of the ships and he just wasn't focused on his base. Again, suck at aiming. Let's try and transition from this guy to this guy. To be fair, I'm also doing some ship to ship as well, though. Get him. Again, they just would have had to place an AA or defend their base or something. But either they weren't playing or they were focusing on their ships. Get some more incendiary. I guess a lot of them is just them not really repairing and not defending, so I don't know how many were actually playing or how many were distracted with ship. Or this guy just dies from the incendiary, never repairing. And then I try to get mortars back on the last base. Still suck at aiming mortars. But yeah, this ends pretty soon. Get them with the incendiaries, and that's it. So that was the last one, so hopefully this is at least mildly entertaining. I don't think anything too interesting happened in any of these matches, but I mean, these are the kind of matches I'm playing because I'm not really able to get high-skilled players in and stuff. Just Fortships isn't super popular right now. It's hard to fill a lobby with it, but hopefully you got some fun out of this, so see you guys around.